Well, hello. I wanted to offer a bit of a synopsis from today's class in which we were thinking about the place of Christian reflection in communication theory. Some of you, well, at least one of you was absent today, and then I wanted to offer a sort of recap for you as maybe you're continuing to think about our discussion today and maybe jot a few notes. So here's a 5-minute recap of our conversation today. We talked about three things: identity, theory, and theology, and how they kind of get woven together in this class. So, first of all, I want to say that although you are required to write a paper that integrates theology and communication theory, you are not required to pretend that you are a certain kind of Christian that you're not, or a certain kind of believer of any kind. Although I'm very interested in your personal religious place, I'm not requiring you to be of any particular faith. You need to know that I teach from a perspective of Christian belief and practice. But where you are is, well, you're invited to come as you are to this class. So, first of all, thinking about your identity, an exciting time for you in life. You're intensely developing what a friend of mine, Paul Holmes at the University of Chicago, calls a theory of yourself. And this class will give you a chance to do that. So this is a class in identity formation in many ways. The theories we talk about will help you as you're shaping your sense of who you are. Secondly, theory. Some of you took this class because you're required to. It's in your degree audit. You can't escape. But I want to say, as a counter to that, that you can't not do theory because you're a human. Kenneth Burke says that we're symbol-using animals, which is another way of saying we're language users, which is another way of saying that we're theorizers. We are incorrigible theorizers. We can't stop it. When Burke says we're symbol users, he means that we are constantly abstracting ourselves from our conditions, unlike my Shih Tzu puppy, who can't really abstract himself from his circumstances. If he's hungry or if he wants to play or whatever he's wanting to do in the moment, he just does that. You and I are constantly pulling out of our circumstances and saying, what's going on here? And why do I feel so bad? And what should I be doing? And how should I carry myself? And what should I look like today? And what kind of language can I use to describe how sucky or wonderful I feel? We're constantly using language. We're constantly theorizing about where we are in life. This class will give you some equipment for living, to use another Burke phrase. The bad news, the really bad news, is that communication theory is also unreliable. It will let you down. Let me give you an analogy. You probably have some kind of engagement with self-help literature today. It might be in a book, or it might be like a book on organization, or a book on getting your inbox, your email inbox down to zero, or it might be an exercise website, or it might be something on Pinterest about how to make your, I don't know, your apartment look really cool. The great thing about self-help literature is the same as the great thing about communication theory, and that is that it gives you a sense of empowerment. I am powerful. But then, after you've tried the exercise program out for a little while, or after you've tried the diet for a while, or after you've tried the organizational plan for your email or your social media, you start saying things like, I'm not so powerful. I'm kind of sad, actually. And communication theory and self-help literature tends to put you on this endless oscillation between I am powerful and I'm kind of sad. Back and forth you go. You need another vantage point. And that's where the third talking point today, theology, comes in. Christian theology offers you a way to theorize about theory, to think about how you think about something, to talk about how you're talking about it. It gives you what scholars would call a meta-theoretical perspective. And I think it's a good one. At the end of this semester, you don't have to embrace it or swear to it, but I hope that you will recognize, yeah, Christian theology helps us to make sense of our experience and communication theory. N.T. Wright, the book I asked you to start reading this weekend, Simply Christian, talks about how Christianity makes sense I think it not only makes sense, but it makes sense of things. It makes sense of the communication theory we'll be studying this semester. So that's my recap from today's class, thinking about identity. You're making a theory of yourself. Theory, you can't not make theory. That's what you do. You're a language user, you're a symbol user. But theory will let you down, so we need another vantage point. We need another story, and a larger story, an encompassing story. And that's where I think the Christian story can be so helpful. So that's my synopsis of today's class, and if you'd like to talk more about it or share some coffee over it, share some coffee over it. I need to re-theorize that idiom. Thanks for talking and listening.